So could you please confirm if you can see the slides?
Yes, Professor.
Yes.
Perfect.
Sure.
Yes, Professor.
Thank you. So the new chapter is called Supply Chain Performance, Achieving Strategic Fit and Scope. What's the learning objectives? What are the learning objectives? Explain why achieving a strategic fit is critical to a company's overall success. Describe how a company achieves the strategic fit between its supply chain strategy and its competitive strategy. So it looks that there are two main strategies in a supply chain, which is strategy number one is supply chain strategy, and strategy number two is competitive strategy. So we have to make sure that there is a fit between these two strategies. And then identify the main levers to deal with uncertainty in a supply chain. This is also very important, how to deal with uncertainty in a supply chain. How can you manage different sources of uncertainty in a supply chain? And the last part will not be um, uh, covered in this course, but the materials is there, so we don't need to cover it today or any other times. Okay, let's start. This is a very critical chapter. Understanding that will help you uh, to analyze supply chains properly and find the best strategy for the supply chain. Competitive and supply chain strategies. So we have two strategies, competitive strategy and supply chain strategy. Competitive strategy defines the set of customer needs a firm seeks to satisfy through its products and services. Okay, relative to its competitors. So it looks a very long definition, but I will explain it in detail for you. So competitive strategy is something that you as a company, you as a supply chain will decide to adopt in order to make you different from other rivals. Okay, like what? Like Walmart. Okay, so what is the idea behind Walmart? What is their maxim? What is their representation? So they call themselves everyday low pricing. Okay, so they have targeted those customers that price really matters for them, price and variety. So it means that if you are looking for luxury products, maybe Walmart is not a good place to look for that. Walmart is excellent for middle class or low class people, low income people that are looking for a variety of items, but as low as possible. And on the other side, we have Dollarama. So what do you think about Dollarama? Which type of customers are targeted for Dollarama?
Low cost.
Lowest possible cost. Do they have enough variety?
No.
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 No, the variety is very low. What do you think about Sobeys?
Above average.
Above average. Average or above average? Okay, do they particularly looking for the lowest possible prices?
No.
No,
No,
variety.
no, they prefer to have a variety while they don't care much about the prices. Okay, so do you see based on which type of customers you're trying to target to satisfy, your strategy would be also different. Okay, another example, Dell. What does Dell do? As you know, it's clear. They have online selling. They don't have any physical store so that you can go and buy the products. They have a high variety of products, but if you want a laptop right away, is Dell a good place to purchase?
No.
No.
No. Good. And on the other side, we have a company such as Best Buy. Do you know Best Buy? So Best Buy is a company
Yes.
that has a variety of electronic products. What they do is that they have a set of products. They also have online selling, but many of their sales items are in their store. So they could be a little bit more expensive. They could be, they don't have much variety of the products. But what is good about Best Buy is that if you need something really urgently, you can go there and purchase it and go back with a product. So can you use customers than Best Buy? So Best Buy is good for which type of customers?
Who needs the product urgently?
Exactly.
Basis
If
of
you need
urgency.
something, that's right. So each of them are good for certain types of customers, certain types of needs. So the competitive strategy of Dell is different than the competitive strategy of Best Buy. Okay, another example. We have Blue Nile versus Zales. They are working in jewelry industry. So Blue Nile is a company that has a physical store. So when you have a physical store, what's good about a physical store? So people can go, they can try jewelries, they can talk to people, they can ask about different sizes, they can wear it, and they can check if it's a good fit for them. Correct? So some certain
Yes.
types of customers may like going to a physical store. While there are some jewelries sold on sales, which is online. Uh, so which one has the highest inventory, in a physical store or in an online system?
In a physical store.
Physical store.
In a physical store.
Are you sure?
Yes.
In an online sector, an online store would have a higher variety and more quantity.
Exactly. So an online system has a more variety of items there. Okay, so they can have hundreds of product, while a physical store has limited capacity, so they can just bring excuse me, a certain set of products to be used. Can you wear or test the jewelries using online system?
No, it's not.
No, it's almost impossible. And can you talk to somebody and ask about their opinion using an online system? There are some advancement there. They're trying to do something, but it's not as comfortable for people as physical store, correct? So, what if you need to buy something urgently? Which one is better?
Physical store.
Physical store.
Physical store, correct. So, as you can see, the competitive strategy of Blue Nile is totally different than the competitive strategy of Zales. Why? Because they have targeted different customers with different needs. Okay, clear for everyone?
Yes, sir.
So based on these examples that I brought you, what is the definition of competitive strategy? Competitive strategy defines a set of customer needs. Okay, for example, lower prices, highest variety, urgent pickup, more diversity, okay, availability to return, okay, potential to return. There are so many needs that customer may have. So competitive strategy defines a set of customer needs a firm seeks to satisfy through its products and services relative to its competitors. Okay. So I hope that you understand what do we mean by competitive strategy. Each company has a different competitive strategy. In each case, the competitive strategy is defined based on how the customer prioritize cost, delivery time, variety, and quality. Okay, so these are four main factors that could contribute to the competitive strategy of a firm. Okay, and these are all coming from the types of customers they are targeting, the types of customer needs that they are targeting. So can you tell me what's happening in Walmart? How much is the cost?
For exactly what, Professor?
So how much is the cost of Walmart products?
Professor, you were not audible. Can you repeat it again?
What about now? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So for Walmart, what is the policy? Do they use a very expensive products or low cost products?
Their
They use
strategy
a
is
low
low
cost
cost.
products.
Low cost product.
What about delivery time
Um,
in a physical store?
in a physical store, it's quick,
It's
always ready to
instant.
ready to buy.
Variety?
Has a wide variety.
There's
Wide
a wide
variety.
variety.
Okay. What about quality?
Quality may
Quality,
vary.
no,
May not be of the
Maybe
great
not
value.
very high.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. They are acceptable level, but not very high. Okay. So if you want to compare it with Dollarama, how much is the cost?
Very
Cheapest.
lowest.
high
So the competitive strategy of Dollarama is the lowest cost, delivery time is good, variety is very low, quality is super low. Yeah. So these are the strategy of Dollarama. What about the strategy of Sobeys? What is the cost?
Average.
It's high.
premium.
What is the delivery time? Almost the same as Walmart.
Same.
What about the variety?
Too much
Mm,
variety.
Variety is very high. And what about quality?
equality.
Quality is also high.
Quality is also high. So you see, competitive strategy of companies are totally different. Okay, thus a firm's competitive strategy will be defined based on its customers' priorities. Okay, clear for everyone? Customers' priority will define what? Customer competitive
Separate.
strategy. Great. Okay, so this is the process that normally happen in a supply chain, in a company, whatever. So this is called value chain. Value chain. What is a value chain? So value chain consists of the processes and activities that are happening in a supply chain. For example, one of the processes that are shown in this picture with color and with arrows, they are the main processes or the core processes, okay? So everything you see here are the core processes. And there are also some processes are called auxiliary or side processes. They are also important, but they are not as important as the core processes. These are required in order to make products and make the supply chain working, but the value is actually, there is no value added there. They don't add any value to the products. They are just supportive. While whatever you see here, they all add value to final products. So customers are willing to pay money for these types of products, not for other types of processes that you have in supply chain. Anyway, but we need both of them. Yeah, I am just repeating to make sure that I cannot say I don't need these types of products, processes. Okay, so what are the core processes that add value to your supply chain? Number one is called new product development. So how you design new products and how you send them to the market, how often you define them. Okay, so these are called new product development. For example, Apple, Apple company normally introduces new products in September. Okay, so they add new features, they improve their current features of their products, and they introduce it in September, and this is their policy. Okay, so they try to improve their products year by year. This is called new product development. Another types of strategy that a supply chain may have is its marketing and sales strategy. Okay, so do they use online selling? Do they have promotions? How do they interact customer needs? So this is another set of policies that they may use in order to uh, marketing their products and selling their products. The third category of strategies is a little bit wider. It includes operation, distribution, and service. So what do we call the combination of these things? Supply chain management strategies, correct? Operation, distribution, and services. So this is the third category of strategies that supply chain may have, and this strategy will help them in order to identify and distinguish between different supply chains. Okay, so a question, which types of strategies we have in supply chain? Any response?
Strategic, tactical, and operational.
Okay, first of all, we have two main categories, core processes and auxiliary or supportive processes. Then when it comes to core processes, we have three main, new product development, marketing and sales, and finally, supply chain management processes. Okay, now let's review the rest of items and define them one by one. Product development strategy, it specifies the portfolio of new products that the company will try to develop. Portfolio, it can be defined as a basket of products. Yeah. So how often you update your products, how often you introduce new products to the market. Marketing and sales strategy specifies how the market will be segmented and products will be positioned, priced, and promoted. For example, there are certain companies that they are targeting childs. There are certain companies they are targeting elder people. There are certain products that are targeting rich people, okay, and high income people. For example, luxury boat. Is it good for, I don't know, low income people? Probably not. So this is the way that they distinguish people, they separate people, and probably in the marketing course, you will learn more about these types of strategies. And finally, we have supply chain strategy. This is something that we really care here. Number one and number two is just to let you know these strategies are available and what's the difference between them. But what we really care is supply chain strategy. It determines the nature of material procurement, transportation material, manufacturing of products, or creation of services, and finally distributing them to final customers. So all the stages of a supply chain. How do you get your material? Do you look for the lowest price? Do you look for the highest quality? How do you make the products? Do you have advanced technologies? Do you have regular technologies? How do you distribute it? By air, by UPS, by ships? And how do you deliver to customers? Do you provide enough care? Do you have return policies? So these are all supply chain strategies. Okay, so what really matters is actually the last sentence. All functional strategies. So these are also called core or functional, okay? Functional strategies. All functional strategies must support one another and also, this is the most critical part, competitive strategy. What does it mean? Let me bring you one example. Let's say I am a purchasing manager of a company which makes luxury boats. Okay, so people, very rich people, can buy boats and go for sailing, go for enjoying, something like that. Okay, if I am a purchasing manager for that company, if I am a uh, procurement manager of that company, should I look for lowest price of material, or I should go for highest quality of material?
Highest
I should go
quality.
for the highest quality.
Okay, thank you. That's the correct answer. So if I go for the lowest price, if I take the lowest price as my supply chain strategy, lowest price as supply chain strategy, am I supporting competitive strategy of my company?
No.
No, I am not. That's right. But if I go with the highest quality, okay, if my supply chain strategy is the highest quality, this will be matching with competitive strategy of my company. Because competitive strategy is coming from, where is it coming? Competitive strategy is coming from
How you want to serve your customers?
customers' priority. So for a luxury boat, what is the customer's priority? Lowest price or the highest quality?
Highest quality.
Highest quality.
Highest quality. So do you see what do I mean by competitive strategy and being it matched with supply chain strategy? So this is the way that we match these two very important strategies. Supply chain strategy, the way you manage your supply chain, and competitive strategy, the way you satisfy your customer priorities. Clear for everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Any questions?
No,
Any
sir.
No, sir.
doubts?
No, sir.
Okay, let's go further. Now I want to start a very important topic, which is called achieving a strategic fit. Okay, achieving a strategic fit. This is a very important topic, achieving a strategic fit. Strategic fit, what does it mean? It means that the competitive strategy and supply chain strategy, so that's why we have two strategies, competitive strategy and supply chain strategies, have aligned goals. If these two strategies have aligned goals, it means that you have achieved strategic fit. Clear for everyone? So
Yes, professor.
if I am a supply chain manager and I go for the lowest possible price for buying material, do you think that I can achieve a strategic fit for a luxury boat company?
No.
No.
No, sir.
What about the other side? If I am a purchasing manager or supply chain manager for Walmart and I go for the highest possible quality of material and products, do you think I am supporting competitive strategy?
No.
No.
No, sir.
No. So if you don't see a really high quality, and I don't want to say high quality, the quality of Walmart products are good, they are fine. But let's say in this word, if I am a supply chain manager in Walmart and I go with the highest possible quality, okay? Do you think it's a good strategy for that company?
No.
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 So we shouldn't get surprised that why they don't have a superior quality products because it's not their strategy. They have purposefully decided to be so. This is not a fault for them, okay? So if you look at from this perspective, you won't be surprised if you go to Walmart and you see that the prices are very low and their quality is okay. You can use them for a while. So if you look at it from the supply chain perspective, you really understand that they are doing the right way. They are not doing the wrong thing. Okay. Okay. So what is the second definition of a strategic fit? The consistency between customer priority and supply chain capabilities. Okay. If your customer's priority is variety, okay, they want a variety of products to be available, and your supply chain capability is not able to provide such variety, definitely you don't have a strategic fit. Okay. If your customers want online selling and you don't provide it, over the time you will fail because that's the priority of your customers. They want variety. They want um, being able to order online and receive at their homes. Okay, if you do not provide it, if your supply chain cannot provide such capability, so in long term you will miss your strategic fit. Okay, a company may fail because of a lack of a strategic fit or because its processes and resources do not provide capabilities to execute the desired strategy. Okay, so what is the main reason that a company may fail? There is no any fit or matching between
Supply
competitive strategy and supply
supply
chain
chain
strategy.
strategy.
So that's the first reason. What is the second reason that a company may fail? There is a match between competitive strategy and supply chain strategy. However, you do not have processes and resources that have enough capability to implement what will satisfy customer priorities. Okay, this is another reason that you may fail. Okay, the competitive strategy and all functional strategy may fit together to form a coordinated overall strategy. Okay, what is a coordinated overall strategy? This is the highest level strategy of a company. This is where you can see competitive strategy is merged with supply chain strategy. Okay. The different functions in a company must appropriately structure their processes and resources to be able to execute these strategies successfully. Okay. So different functions in a company must appropriately structure their processes and resources. These are two important things. The design of an overall supply chain and the role of each stage must be aligned to support the supply chain strategy. That is also very critical. Can you have, what are the stages of a supply chain?
Supplier,
Supplier,
Suppliers,
manufacturer,
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 warehouse,
Warehouse,
warehouses,
retail,
distributors,
distributors,
customers,
retailers,
customer,
and
and
customers.
customers.
retailers, customers.
Okay. How many times I have repeated? Okay.
Many
Still,
times.
I see that when I am here, people say customers. Anyway, so these are the stages of supply chain. What really matters is that not only individual activities and resources and processes should be matching with competitive strategy, but also what you do in each of these stages should matching what really matters to customers. Like what? So if you're working for a very luxury company, Okay, so you're using proper supplies of material, you're making them with an advanced technology, you you warehouse them properly, you distribute them properly, but in your retail store, you're using a very ugly environment to present it. Do you think you will be successful?
No, sir.
No.
So you see, all of these stages should be matched with each other, okay? So that you finally achieve your strategic fit. Okay, next question is that if a strategic fit is something good, how can we achieve it? How can we get to the point that we say, I have achieved the strategic fit? Okay, there are three basic steps that will help you to achieve a strategic fit. And today we will try to explain as many of them as possible. So the first step is understanding the customers and supply chain uncertainty. Okay, understanding the customer and supply chain uncertainty. Step number two is understanding your supply chain, understanding your capability. Okay, so these are the outside factors. These are something inside your company. And finally, try to find a proper matching between step number one and step number two. So external factors here, internal factors here, and finally finding the best way, the best match between internal and external factors. Okay, I will explain all of them in detail. Let's start with the step one, which is understanding the customers and supply chain uncertainty. Understanding the customers and supply chain uncertainty. Okay, so quantity of these are the normal things that you expect in a supply chain. Quantity of products needed in each lot, response time customers will tolerate, variety of products needed, service level required, price of the products, desired rate of innovation in a product. So these are something that you normally evaluate your customers' priority based on them. Okay, do you agree? So this is a way that you classify your customers' priority. Some customers want a very, you know, it's okay if you don't have all the products that they need. For some customers, it really matters. They want all of the products that they have ordered. Response time, the customer will tolerate. Some customer wants right away. Some customer don't want it to be delayed. Some customers, they are okay. For example, for if you go to Best Buy, is it okay if they say we don't have this product, you should wait for 1 month? What do you feel?
I feel bad about it.
You don't feel good about that. Yeah, definitely. But if Dell tells you that it takes you 2 weeks, 3 weeks, even 1 month, what do you feel about that?
The same way.
Not exactly the same because you know that it takes time for them, yeah? And because it's different from what they do, their operation is different. And then about the variety of products needed, okay? Sometimes your customers do not want a variety of products. Sometimes they want. For example, if you go to Best Buy and don't see a variety of products, will you be unhappy?
Yes.
What I want you to think about before answering is that you compare it with Dell, okay? So Dell provides you a much higher variety compared to Best Buy, correct? So when you go to a physical store, you don't expect so much variety. While when you go to an online store, such as Dell, you expect a variety, okay? So if you don't see enough variety in a physical store, you shouldn't get unhappy. And if you go to an online store and you don't get enough variety, then you should be worried about that. Okay. So maybe if you have selected Best Buy wrongly if you are looking for variety. Next one is service level. Okay. So by service level, we mean that how many of your customers can get happy by the available products on the shelves of, you know, each store. Okay. So if you have 100 customers coming every day to your store and you have 95 bottle of milk available, so how much is your customer level or your service level? So
95.
100 customers come every day to your store. You have 95 bottles of milk. So how much is your service level?
95.
95%, which is 95 divided by 100. That's why we get to 95%. Okay, so for some supply chains, we really don't care. It's fine that it would be 50%. Okay, in some supply chains, even 99% is not good. Okay, you need to make sure that it's 100%. So that's the strategy of a supply chain. Price of the products. Some some customers are okay to pay higher prices. Some customers no, they want as low as possible. Desired rate of innovation in the products. Some customer wants the product just working. That's why they buy very cheap cell phones because they just want to use it to call or text. Some customer wants many features in their products, so the desired level of innovation matters for them. So these are the priorities. Yeah, these are something customer would select in order to decide about the products or supply chain. Okay, there are some uncertainties as well. Okay, if you so let me go back. In step number 1, I am trying to understand the customers. Yeah. So how do I understand customers? By understanding what they want. Okay. So these are the items that customers normally prioritize. These are the priority of customers. Now I need to learn about uncertainties. Uncertainties are discussed in this slide. The first uncertainty that I want to learn is demand uncertainty. Okay, this slide again is very important. Please make sure that you are fresh and ready to grasp the ideas in this slide. Okay, demand uncertainty. It's the uncertainty of customer demands for a product. So can somebody explain what do I mean by this? What is demand uncertainty?
It can be that the customer has some influx of money and he's tried to bought some products, or maybe customers people are buying product for which the customer company has predicted that the sale will be less. Now there's the demand
Okay.
uncertainty.
So do you remember the example of jackets? So imagine that I was initially predicting 1,000 jackets to be sold this year. What if that number reduces to 900? That is demand uncertainty, yeah? So what you forecasted, what you predicted is less than what you actually sold. That is called demand uncertainty. What if the demand goes higher? Can we still call it demand uncertainty?
Yes.
Yes, we can still call it demand uncertainty. So by demand uncertainty, we mean fluctuations going high or low. Okay. So if demand is higher than what you predicted, if demand is lower than you predicted, this is called demand uncertainty. Okay. So this is a very easy concept. Everybody understand. The second concept is very important, but also a little bit complex to understand. This is called implied demand uncertainty. Okay, what is implied demand uncertainty? This is the resulting uncertainty for only the proportion of demand that the supply chain plans to satisfy based on the attributes of the customer desires. Okay, attributes of the customer desires. What are the attributes of the customer desires? These are the attributes of customer desire. These are the priorities of the customer. Okay, these are what customer matters, what matters to customers. Okay, in other words, if I see changes here, for example, quantity goes high or low. If the response time goes higher or lower. If the variety of products goes higher or lower. What's the impact of those changes in customer priorities on customer demand? Okay, this is called implied demand uncertainties. Okay, is it clear for everyone?
No,
Probably
professor, you have
not.
to no.
Okay,
Sir,
so
please
implied,
Please
explain
explain it
again.
with examples.
sure, definitely. That's all I am going to do from here and next slides. Okay, but before I go there, let me let me bring this example. If you are working in Walmart, not working, you want to buy something from Walmart, and you expect a bottle of milk to be, let's say, about $6. Okay, if the price goes higher, okay, or the quantity of the material, you go to Walmart and you don't see that they have enough milk, enough bottle of milk in their store. Does it increase the uncertainty or it reduces the uncertainty?
It increases the uncertainty.
Increase,
It
sir.
increase. Yes, it increases the uncertainty. Okay, that's right. Another example. Okay, that's about the price of products. If the price of a bottle of milk gets to $10, does it increase the uncertainty or decreases the uncertainty?
Increases the uncertainty.
Increases the uncertainty.
It increases the uncertainty. Great. Another example. If I tell you that your midterm is on November 4th, okay? Your midterm is November 4th, which means that you have a lot of time to do that. Then I change it. Then I change it to another. No, it's not a good example. Let me bring it in a later time. But when you change the priority of customers, something that really matters to customers, it could impact how much people will order to you. Okay, so if you increase the prices, do you think people will order more or less from you?
Less.
Less, sir.
They will order less. So the implied demand uncertainty is the demand will be reduced. For example, there are some examples here. Raising service level, okay, which means having more products in your shelves. The implied demand uncertainty, sorry, raising service level increases implied demand uncertainty, even though the product's underlying demand uncertainty does not change. That's the same product, but you're bringing so much pressure to yourself by raising the service level. So instead of 95% availability of products on the shelf, if you go with 99%, okay, what happens? You're bringing more pressure on yourself. Okay, so in this case, implied demand uncertainty will go higher. Okay, although the product is still the same. Both the product demand and various customer needs that the supply chain tries to fill affect the implied demand uncertainty. Okay, Both of them will contribute to the implied demand uncertainty. Okay, product demand, where is it coming from? This is from demand uncertainty. Various customer needs, how this one impacts. This impacts from implied demand uncertainty. Both of them, okay, will impact the demand uncertainty. This table is excellent in order to uh, help you to understand the concept of implied demand uncertainty much better. Okay, these are customer needs, yeah? These are something that we explained in previous slide, in this slide, okay? Now I want to see what is the impact of changes in customer needs and how implied demand uncertainty is impacted based on them. Okay, number one, range of quantity required increases, okay? So if customers, uh, if customer used to buy only one per day, if they decided to buy three per day, okay? For example, there is a certain product, they really like it, they want to, or to buy more from that. What's the impact of that on implied demand uncertainty? So if the range of quantity required increases, so from 1 to 3, it causes implied demand uncertainty to increase because a wider range of quantity required implied greater variance in demand. Okay, it means that previously all of my goal was to satisfy people with only one product per day. Now that people are trying to increase their demands from 1 to 3, I have to put more pressure on myself. Why? Because some people like one, some people like two, some people like three products, okay? And now it's very tough to manage different number of products because the variance, this is something you learned from statistics, yeah? The variance will increase, and increasing variance means increasing uncertainty, okay? Increasing unknowns. I'm not sure exactly how much customer will order in future. So it increases the uncertainty. Number two, lead time decreases. What does lead time mean? Any idea about lead time?
Your time to manufacture the order,
Not necessarily.
or
Future
maybe the
time.
time to process the order from top to bottom, or any time related
Excellent.
to the supply chain process.
That's right. So it's a better definition. So let me explain it. The time between you put an order to the time that you receive the products in your place. This is called lead time order. Lead time. Okay. So the time that you put an order until the time that you receive it. So if you go to Amazon, you order something, you pay it, and you receive it in 2 weeks. Okay. So how much is the lead time? That's 2 weeks. If you are a manufacturing company, you need raw material. You order something and you receive it in 1 week, okay, in your factory. The lead time is called 1 week, okay? So if instead of 1 month, the lead time decreases to 1 week, okay, lead time decreases. It causes the implied demand uncertainty to increase. Why? Because there is less time in which to react to orders. Okay, everybody understand why? Or do you want me to explain it?
Understood.
So let me bring another example. If I say that your next quiz is in 2 weeks, okay? Your next quiz is in 2 weeks. And then suddenly I change my mind. I say, no, quiz is in 10 minutes? What do you feel? Less pressure or stressful?
It will be
Stressful.
stressful and increases the uncertainty of securing good marks.
Exactly. So implied demand uncertainty will be increased. You will feel more stress when you reduce the lead time. Okay. So when the stress is increased, it means that the implied demand uncertainty will be also increased. Okay. Is it clear for everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's go for the next customer need. Variety of products required increases. So you used to have only one type of products. No, you want to go with 10 different brands from just one product. This is something good, yeah? But what's the impact on the implied demand uncertainty? Increases because demand per products becomes more disaggregated. People, let's say that you want to, people coming to your store to buy 100 bottles of milk. No, instead of having one brand of milk, you have organic milk, you have 1% milk, 2%, 3%, without lactose milk, and different types of milks. So demand will be disaggregated between them, okay? And then it's very tough to manage the demand in this case. So the implied demand uncertainty will increase when you have a variety of products. Next one, number of channels through which product may be acquired increase. Okay, so you used to sell only on your store. Now you have your online store, online selling as well. Now you deliver the products to customers. So different channels that you deliver the products to customers. So if you increase the number of channels, what's the impact on implied demand uncertainty? It increases because the total customer demand is now disaggregated over more channels. So whenever you see kind of disaggregation, it causes the implied demand and uncertainty to increase. What if I do reverse? So I were using multiple channels. Now I want to unite them. I want to integrate them. So does it make the implied demand uncertainty to increase or decrease?
It will decrease it.
Yes, it decreases or reduces the implied demand uncertainty because I'm aggregating everything. So no need to be worried about, uh, disaggregation. Rate of innovation. Rate of innovation increases. If the rate of innovation increases, what will happen? It causes the implied demand uncertainty to increase. Okay, because new products tend to have more uncertain demands. There is a very detailed discussion about this. I will explain it at the end of this lecture. Don't worry about that. The idea is that when a product is new, um, for example, let me ask you this question. It's better to ask through a question. Let's say you are a manager working for Apple and you just introduce iPhone 14. Okay. So which product is more unpredictable? The sales of which product is more unpredictable? The sales of iPhone 14 or the sales of iPhone 10?
Sales of iPhone 14.
14. Yes, it's gonna be 14.
iPhone 14.
Exactly, that's right. So new products normally have more uncertainty about the demand. We don't know exactly if this product is going to be successful in the market. We don't know if people are going to like it. So there are more uncertainty about new products. So if you are a company that every year, every season, every month, you are introducing a new product, like fashion industry, yeah? So if you're working in a fashion industry, so in these cases, the implied demand uncertainty is really high because Every month you're introducing a new products, and there are lots of uncertainty about the demand side and you know how much people will like your demand. And the next one is a required service level. So if the required service level increases, so instead of 95% of service level, you go with 100%, it means that everybody should be happy. You should have enough products in your stores that everybody gets happy. So what's the impact on implied demand uncertainty? Does it bring more pressure on you or less pressure?
More pressure.
More pressure. And when it brings more pressure, what does it mean? It means that it increases implied demand uncertainty. Is it clear for everyone? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So this is the way that you have to uh, interpret the impact of customer needs, how customer needs are changing, and how they will impact the implied demand uncertainty. Okay, so these are all demand side, yeah, something that changes in the customer side, and you want to see how it impacts you. What if we also consider what is the impact of uh, uncertainty on the other attributes? Okay, so in other words, what is the correlation between the implied demand uncertainty and other attributes? So before I want to explain this section, I need to give you one idea. Do you think increasing demand uncertainty or implied demand uncertainty is something good or bad?
The professor, it depends on the company because every new production will have increased implied or demand uncertainty. But then the company also knows that if they introduce a new product, they're gonna reap more benefits than the uncertainties. It's like a question of which the company thinks or predicts is the best for them.
Okay, thank you very much. That was a good answer. So I just want to repeat. Uh, the question was that if implied demand uncertainty means the more pressure on a company, so should we go with that or we should just try to be as relaxed as possible for manufacturing and for supply chain? The answer to that question is here. So as you can see, when we have high implied uncertainty, it means that the product margin is also higher. Okay, this is a great thing. So when you have a higher implied demand uncertainty, you have higher product margin as well. You have more profitability as well. And this is exactly what we are looking for. Yeah, we are looking for more profitability in a supply chain. While if you are working in an industry that everything is okay, you don't have pressure, you don't need variety, you don't need to do the things faster and have a shorter lead time. If you don't care about innovation, so you will definitely have lower profit margin as well. Okay, so this is what you expect. Also, in terms of average forecast error, okay, so when you have low implied uncertainty, so it means that your initial schedule is not going to change. Your initial forecast is not going to change. So you have only 10% error. While when you have higher implied uncertainty, so your average forecast could reach up to 100% increase, which means that you may be impacted. Your initial schedule could totally change. Average stock out rate. What does a stock out rate mean?
Is it relevant to the customer demand or the products which is going off on the supply chain process from top to
Mhm.
bottom?
Exactly. So if your service level is 95%, which means that 95 people out of 100 people coming to your store will go out happy, okay? Because you have products in your store. How much is your stock out rate?
Professor, just a side question. You said if 95% of the people go happy out of 100, would it be service level or would it be customer satisfaction rates? Because what I want to ask is service level, according to me, is how many customers I can serve at a given point in time. Whereas if I'm able to send 95% customers happy out of my store, wouldn't that be customer satisfaction rate? Please correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay, thank you for your question. That's a good question. Yeah, customer satisfaction has many attributes. Even the people that working for Walmart, if they are angry, they will impact the customer satisfaction. You agree? If the ground that people are walking is not cleaned properly, that impacts customer satisfaction. If the lights are not on, if the prices are not at good amount, if they have increased the prices, so many factors contribute to customer satisfaction. But here by customer satisfaction, particularly for the examples that we are reviewing, we are referring to the attributes that are related. Here, customer satisfaction means customer satisfaction from availability of products, not from the other features, just the availability. So, if 95% of people are happy from finding what they want in the store, how many percent will reach to stock out rate? 5%. So 5% of people will have less won't get the products that they need. So the average stock out rate when you have a low implied uncertainty, it's not that much, it's not going to change. But when you have high implied uncertainty, it's going to significantly change over the time. Average for season end markdown. This is another characteristics. So when the implied uncertainty is low, you don't need to to mark down the products because they are selling as they were planned to. Yeah, nothing has been changed. But when the implied uncertainty is very high, probably at the end of season you need to reduce your prices in order to sell whatever you have in your store. Because if they remain for the next season, nobody will purchase them, and you have to pay some money for inventory management, for storing them, for making sure they're not getting fired or whatever. So you definitely will have more end of season forced markdown. But the interesting point is that although these things are some negative thing, yeah, do you agree? These are negative things. But the good point is that in total, product margin will go higher when you have higher implied demand uncertainty. That's why here you should make a decision. Do you want to take some risks and make customer happier by increasing your implied uncertainty or not? Okay. If you want to do a regular business, you may say, I'm okay. I don't want to reduce my lead time. I don't want to increase my variety. I don't want to increase the rate of innovation. I just want to survive. So you are okay, but you don't get much benefit. You don't get much margin. But if you take the risk, definitely this slide. No question. Okay, so let me just wrap up this section and Three more slides and that's it for today. So products with uncertain demands are often less mature and have less direct competition. As a result, margins less to be very high. Forecasting is more accurate when demand has less uncertainty. So when the implied demand uncertainty goes higher, what happens? Forecasting will also have less accuracy. Um, are you still following me? Can you hear me well?
Yes,
Yes,
Professor.
sir.
Yes,
Yes,
Professor.
Professor.
Okay. Okay. Increased implied demand uncertainty leads to increased difficulty in matching supply with demand. For given products, this dynamic can lead to either stock out or oversupply situation. Yes. So here, if we say 5% stock out, it may also end up to having more inventory. So you need to have markdown at the end of season or having any promotion. So both of them could happen. Yeah. So when you have higher implied demand uncertainty, people can get dissatisfied because don't have enough products. Also, you may have a lot of products in your shelves. So at the end of season, you have to reduce the prices to get rid of them. Markdowns are high for products with greater implied demand uncertainty because oversupplying offer results. Yes, that's the result of oversupply. You have a lot of things ordered because you believe you need to make customer happy, but at the end you need to do markdowns. Okay, this slide was an explanation of what we reviewed in this slide. Okay, impact of supply source capability. Now we are looking at the ability of you as a supply chain, okay, ability of you as a supply chain in order to make the products, in order to do the services. Okay, so supply source capability, your ability in providing material. The first one is frequent breakdowns. If the machinery you have in your production system fail very regularly, what will happen? It causes supply uncertainty to
Increase.
increase. Is it clear? So you
Yes.
have a machine that normally breaks down. Can you make your promises?
No.
No. You have a car that you are driving from home to school. Okay? If that car regularly breaks down, can you promise that you will reach to your classes on time?
No.
No,
No.
sir.
The uncertainty will be increased. Unpredictable, unpredictable and low yields. If the machinery that you have has a very low productivity. So you get 100% material, okay? And then it gives you only 10 complete products out of that. So it means a low yield, yeah? So does it increase the productivity? Does it increase the supply uncertainty or decrease it?
Increase, sir.
Increase. You have a lot of doubts. Compare it with a machine that is very new and it gets 100 out of 100. Yeah, you are more productive and you have a higher yield. Poor quality. If many of your products are low quality, there is a high chance that customers get dissatisfied. So they increase supply uncertainty. Limited supply capacity. Okay, so if you have limited material, if you have limited a number of machines to make the products, so if the demand suddenly goes high, what will happen? So supply uncertainty will happen as well, which means that you're not able to satisfy your customer needs. Inflexible supply capacity. So here we mean that if the demand from products changes, so instead of brand number one, you want to go to brand number two. If you cannot move to that direction and you are not flexible, so the supply will also increase. Evolving product processes. Okay, so there are many production processes. You can use additive manufacturing, 3D printing, regular production, advanced technologies. If you're just using an old technology, so you're not able to satisfy the demand. So when you're using new technologies, you will be um, able to address all of those changes and make the supply available. Okay, this slide is the summary of what we discussed, and this is the summary of step number one. Okay, step number one. Okay, level of implied demand uncertainty. The first step to achieve a strategic fit between competitive strategy and supply chain strategy is to understand customers, understand supply chain uncertainty, and find a solution for that. Uncertainty from the customer and supply chain can be combined together and mapped into something that we call it implied uncertainty spectrum. Implied uncertainty spectrum. Okay, so what do you see in this spectrum? On the very left side, okay, we have a predictable supply and predictable demand. Okay, like what? Like salt. People are not going to increase purchasing salt. Everything is predictable. You know how much salt people will purchase and consume, and you have to produce per year. Okay? This is not, people are not going to crazy with salt. On the other side, you have highly uncertain supply and highly uncertain demand. Like what? Like new communication devices, like iPhone, like Samsung, whatever. So cell phones in general, cars, new technologies. So these things could be both uncertain from supply side and demand side. So these are two extremes, yeah. Very uncertain in both sides or very certain on both sides as well. In the middle, we may have a mixture of them, yeah. Like what? Like predictable supply, but uncertain demand. Or you may have uncertain supply and predictable demand, or somewhat uncertain in both directions. Like what? Like automobile industries, regular cars, not very luxury and advanced one, not electric cars, just regular cars. So these are something that will be in the middle. So this is called the implied uncertainty spectrum. You have to review your customer needs, your customer priorities, and supply chain capabilities. What do I mean by supply chain capabilities? It means supply uncertainty and demand uncertainty, both of them. You have to review these two things and finally locate yourself on this spectrum. Are you located here? Are you located here? Are you located here? So this is the outcome or the output of step number one. So you have to review and understand your customers and supply chain uncertainty and locate yourself on this spectrum. Okay, that's it for today. Any questions?
Well, Professor, I have one, not
Okay.
regarding one, but it's just like we saw 2 years back when there was when COVID hit us. So there was a sudden surge in the demand of the toilet paper rolls, right? So people were buying it crazily. We could consider it to be a predictable supply and demand mechanism, but how did the supply chain network uh, deal with that sudden surge in the demand of toilet paper for that matter?
Okay, so before I address your question, let me stop recording.